Hello and welcome to the Jumpcast. I am your host for today, Nick, and I am joined by my other host today, Max. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Hello.
Welcome back to what is it? Another week of just the two of us. Um, but we're just doing the same old regular episode. We're covering chapter 258 of Jujutsu Kaisen, Inhuman Makio Shinjuku Showdown Part 30. Jesus, what a title. I am just going to jump straight into the summary of it. So very different chapter than I think anyone was anticipating. Okay, so the chapter starts off with a narrator discussion, explaining that Gojo got reverse curse technique back after hitting two black flashes. Goes into way too much detail that's not very necessary. He just used a different part of his brain to use reverse curse technique. Um, anyways, it goes to they then talk about how, excuse me, Sukuna uh, was trying to regenerate by landing black flashes as well. But because of Yuji landing another seven on him, he, what is it, was not able to get reverse curse technique because he was hitting that same boundary that they talked about between like Sukuna and Megami's body. So just to kind of like disrupt him, not be able to use curse energy as well. We then cut to Miguel with LaRue, where they fled the battlefield, just like, hey, we did our part, good job. And then Miguel senses the that honored one's presence, where the sky turns black for a sec, and it's like, wait, and then Takuna opens his domain again, and it looks way different than how it did before. It looks so weird. It's so hard to explain what the hell this even looks like. It's like some weird cursed beast thing with
Well,
a kind of fusion of like the Max, you remember the what is the creature that Kenjaku showed Choso?
yeah, like
Uh,
the merger
Malevolent
thing.
Archer? Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what it's kind of fused into with Malevolent Shrine. So the narrator explains that Sukuna got his domain back from the Black Flashes. He did an impromptu binding vow. He's working a different part of his brain in order for this to manifest. We see Shinjuku like crumble. It's just it's ash. Like the what is it? Mei's crows are disintegrating. Um, we then cut to a flashback where Hikari states like, "Hey, you're gonna need reverse curse technique or some sort of domain protection for this fight." Maki says, that's not applicable to me." And then like Hikari's like, "Yeah, I know. Shut up." Uh, they then go into trying to use reverse curse technique. To break it down simply, Choso is like, "Hey, how do you guys recover blood when you're doing reverse curse technique?" Hikari is like, "I don't know because it's automatic." Yuta's just that guy, and he says, "Oh, it's instinct." And Shoko says that she converts the curse energy to blood. Choso then explains that him and Yuji can then try to use reverse curse technique and try to lower the amount of curse energy that's needed for it, which is like one of the big hurdles for it, which they're just like, cool, that works. It also, in the fan translations, they're not in the Viz ones. It explains that Yuji did end up eating the other, what is it, five brothers in order to get blood manipulation specifically. I don't know if we covered that last chapter or not. I thought that that was the reveal this one. But anyways, they go over that, and then they go over replacement training, which Yuji is like, what's replacement training? Ui explains that how his curse technique works, so he can teleport to places wherever he wants, and he can switch souls between people. They go into this elaborate explanation of just like it's like a birthday present with the present inside of a box, and the present that's inside the box is the human soul. So Ui can be like, oh, we're gonna switch it without revealing what the present is, so that you can soul swap without like completely destroying the body, like how Mahito did. Um, Kusakabe also adds on that he asks like at Yuji, why do you think you're developing rapidly as a sorcerer? He's just like, oh, it's because I got talent. It's like, no, it's because you had Sukuna inside of you. So uh, they explain why, like, what is it? We got like a hint in the training arc that like Kusakabe and Yuji switch bodies. That's why they did that to like master curse energy control simple domain. We don't know who the second person was, which we'll get into that later during the discussion. But we cut to the present where inside of the domain, which it's a closed domain, it's not the open one that Sukuna did before. Yuji now knows simple domain. So he did that. Um, the narrator explains that it's a closed domain, so Maki isn't affected by it, but not really actually because she's still in the domain. But the shrine can only last for 99 seconds before it crumbles. So they're just kind of sitting in the domain, waiting until Sukuna has to give out. Um, which I don't know how the other people are gonna fare. Like Yuji has the simple domain. Uh, I don't know what Ino and Choso have, and Maki is next to Miwa, which Miwa's also doing a simple domain to try to protect her. What is it? After that, we see Yuji get cut up a bunch by a bunch of dismantles, and he's just like, "Wait, the slashes stopped. We're fine, right?" And then we see Sukuna open the black box where he says "Divine Flames open." So we finally got what that was, and we see Sukuna just making a little bit of fire in his hand. Um, but yeah, that's the end of this chapter. Max, what did you think about it?
I liked it. I mean, it did feel like a lot of explanation, but
Mhm.
I liked the explanation. I thought it actually worked out really well. They did it. The way of comparing the soul to like a present inside a box was actually, I thought, really
Yeah.
good and simplified, because if they just explained it another way, dude, I think I would have been lost the entire time.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
my business major brain was like fried after like some of that explanation earlier. Like,
Yeah. I
so
mean, even Yuji was confused. It's just like you've lost me. I have
yeah,
going on. But that's a really good way to describe it because like we've already known that there's a difference between like soul damage and regular damage, and that's a way better way to describe it than how I've had to explain it to people before of
yeah,
like other people that like the show or the manga. Just like
hmm,
there's differences. Please listen to me, and they're just like, you like this series too much.
yeah,
It's like that's not the point.
yeah,
Um,
exactly.
um, I think that this was an interesting chapter, but also boring at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
there's
what an
sections where it
ass.
popped off, and then there's a few where you're like,
Yeah,
eh.
like I hate that Sukuna's just like, all right, domain again. I really
Yeah, I know it's
didn't
like an
think.
incomplete domain, but um, it's still a domain expansion. Like, it
We
feels like the
already kind of hinted that
assholes.
he was gonna get it
Yeah,
back, but like we thought that if he got his domain back, it would have been in like a way more intimidating way than this.
because like
At
it's
least to
still
us.
intimidating to level like all of Shinjuku, but like I know what you mean. Like it like that moment where he uses his domain in Shibuya. Like I wish it felt more
Yeah,
like that again.
or like just like the what you like about the fight between Gojo and Sukuna is that like they pull out all these stops against each other. Like like when Sukuna first did his domain and he broke Gojo's, it's just like, oh, that's intimidating.
Hmm.
But then like Gojo came back with like the simple domain, like it's outplaying each other, while this one is just like, all right, I know that you just uppercut me with another Black Flash. I'm gonna walk out of the second story of the building and just blow up.
It's
Act like I don't know nobody.
buddy. It's like,
Just
okay, think about it, like Gojo and Sukuna were playing 4D chess. Yuji and everyone else was
yeah.
like playing like Uno. Like completely different
Yeah,
game. Um
yeah.
so
It's like Sukuna's last card is a +4.
yeah,
That's what he's doing right now. Just like, ah, god
everyone's
damn
been
it.
Yuji stacked like 3+4s, and then
Yeah,
Sukuna thinks he's about like they're thinking Sukuna's about to be out, and then he just slaps down another +4.
yeah. And like it's going to like Ino. It's like, oh no. Um, he's screwed. Um, but I don't know. This is such a weird chapter, in my opinion. I mean, like we are just off of all the hype from the last one, so it's hard to
Yeah.
explain. missing with this one. Um, it's also nice to get clarification on the soul swap stuff because we're thinking like, oh, Yuji can soul swap,
Hmm.
but we were wrong. Ui is actually the main MC.
Yeah,
He
it's
can
not.
soul
It's
swap. He's clutching up everything. Like Gege is like, I needed a character with a curse technique that can literally save everyone.
okay. Suka's he's
This
like
is it.
Sukuna's a cop out to everyone of our main to like being a cop out this entire fight. I need the main cast to have their own cop out. Let me give this little
Yeah,
grim 14-year-old like the best curse technique ever to train
yeah,
others. But I
crazy.
actually I kind of like it that it's not Yuji soul swapping. Um,
Yeah,
but then also like it gives you this thought train that like Yuji's just Yuji. Like he's still just punching harder at this point. I mean he's doing other stuff, but um,
yeah.
I think it makes Yuji a more like more interesting. I don't know. There's another word I was thinking that I got like snapped out of my brain. But
It makes it so
a
that
more
he doesn't feel
compelling
like
character. Like
yeah, like
to
he
me
doesn't
more.
have like every curse technique.
Yeah, he's not
His
Ichigo from
ass.
Bleach, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
um, and I like it a lot more, because it makes like the payoffs he's gotten in the past few chapters. I feel like it's more rewarding. Like him hitting 7 consecutive black flashes, but technically 8 black flashes this fight. Like it makes Yuji's feats more rewarding to me.
Oh
Um,
yeah. What is it? So it was still just seven. Apparently, the second Black Flash that you see last chapter was Sukuna.
oh, okay.
So
Oh,
like
hitting
he hit,
Yuji.
yeah, he hit
Oh.
Yuji, but Yuji just did not care. He took the hit and just kept going. So
Oh, that makes it even better. So,
yeah,
and I mean, it's nice to see that Yuji is becoming a smarter, more analytical fighter. Because he's like he once he hits New Shadow, he like instantly recognizes, oh, it's not a complete domain. Like he's like, there's a hole
yeah,
here. I can do this. Like
yeah.
so. Also, there's a
Like he can
panel.
read the battle a lot better.
Yeah. Also, there's like one little panel on 11 of like the domain, and it just has the word glorp on it. I
I
don't
know.
know
I was
why.
reading that too. I think that that was the giveaway for Yuji. It's just like, so here's like another theory because we said it kind of looks like the merger. It's saying that like maybe the binding vow is that um he had to fuse the merger in with Malevolent Shrine,
Hmm.
I think, in order to manifest it. So I'm thinking that it had to do something with because the narrator says it's an impromptu binding vow, and that's like the last card up his sleeve because he can do the fire, right?
Hmm.
So it's just like he didn't sacrifice the fire in order to do Malevolent Shrine again. It was something else,
And hasn't he
which that's
technically
what that
already?
is.
I don't know if it's been confirmed, but he's technically already given up. What is it? 10 shadows for the world cutting slash against Gojo, right?
That
Is
that
it?
was the
That's the
that's a
theory.
theory
Okay.
that he gave up the 10 shadows in order to do the world cutting slash without a chanting.
Hmm.
Um, like it is insinuated that he had to do the binding vow. Not insinuated, it's flat out stated by the narrator.
But we
Um,
haven't got a confirmation on what that binding vow entailed exactly,
yeah.
or okay.
But most people can assume that. Wait, I'm just realizing that Sukuna's fingers for the domain expansion is like Gojo's.
Yeah, I saw something
Uh,
about that, but
I just noticed that
well, didn't
live
they
on this.
mention something about he needed to change the hand signs, right?
Probably. Yeah, I think that's what it was. He changed the hand signs. I mean, he had to because he only has two right arms
Yeah,
right now. Um, but oh my God, my brain's just trying to absorb everything. What to
dude. Well,
um
and like I mean, the way Sukuna's domain is drawn here, I really like it because I forget when, but they mentioned that like Sukuna is a disaster, not like a disaster. Like, do you remember that?
he's like a natural
Yeah,
disaster. Yeah.
It's straight up
Like
on the
he's
full page
scaling the
spread.
city.
Yeah,
It's
it's page 14, 15. It's a straight up tornado. Like it is.
yeah, that's a good thing to point out.
Mhm.
He is just like destroying the city.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned it when you did your things like not Maki Miwa. I don't
Yeah,
know what Miwa's gonna do, but like it's cool to see Miwa come back finally.
he's literally there just for the simple domain to protect Maki.
Yeah.
Gege is like, okay, how can I get Maki out of here? Because he had to also point out like, hey, it's because it's supposed to be a closed domain. Maki's fine. Maki's supposed to be fine.
Mhm. But so it's nice. It's nice. I mean, I want to like Miwa sometimes, but like that stupid binding vow she made, like she could have been such a cool character. I think if she didn't make that binding vow. So
Uh, she could have been in competition for like the tops, like first grades.
yeah,
She's being taught by Kusakabe. It's just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
yeah. Well, and then Ino looks like he's doing some sort of I think that training everyone did was some sort of everyone, not
Yeah,
everyone.
because her body.
Yeah, because Ino's doing some sort of simple domain. I'm assuming Choso is, or maybe he's just getting cut a ton and he's just using his cursed energy to rejuvenate himself or something. But
I'm curious if Yuji's like in the what is it? Actually, because you explained that pretty well, like how it's just it looks like a tornado. Maybe Yuji's just like in the eye of the storm.
mhm.
That's why he says like there's a hole here. That's
Yeah,
how it can be interpreted. While everyone else is on the outside of it.
yeah, not the whole like when you think of a domain like the Dagon fight, not the like the hole to leave the domain, kind of
Yeah,
right. Yeah, okay, I like that. That's a good way to think about it. So,
somewhat. Or like because as you said, like the eye of the storm, like nothing goes on, right? At
mhm.
least that's how it works with the tornado.
I think there's still like a little bit, but it's a lot more manageable.
Like
I don't know.
that's like the calmest part. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. Watch us get like shit on for that take, but um so like he's in the eye of the storm, so he's the only one in the domain, while everyone else is just like on the outside of it, taking the brunt force from the all the all the spinny and all the debris being thrown
Yeah.
about,
I think
and
it's
like
a
maybe it's there
great.
just in
I
case.
wonder. I'm assuming it's just constant slashes too, like cleaves and dismantles going
Mhm.
around. I think it's so cool how they're writing it too, to look like that.
Yeah, it's what is it? That just reminded me. I love the part with it, Yuji's leg getting cut off, but then he gets it back.
Yeah.
Like if you remember how Choso did it with
Yeah,
Kenjaku,
against
like
Kenjaku.
yeah. So I just, again, fun, and that's also just Yuji like having like amazing um what is it?
Feats
Battle
reaction.
yeah, what is it? Battle IQ.
Oh
That's what
yeah.
it is. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think. Um I'm gonna go back to when we are talking about like the soul swap
Hmm.
and like the replacement training. I want to ask you, who do you think was the other person that Yuji switched with for
Um,
that month?
that's a good point. I have no
I
idea.
bet you're on Gojo.
Yeah, maybe Gojo in some to some extent, or
Yeah. I couldn't
um,
think of anyone else who'd be good to swap with besides like maybe Maki or like Choso just to understand blood manipulation.
yeah, my or maybe it was Kamo to understand blood
Yeah,
manipulation
that
because
could
he
have
called
also
him a
been
better
it.
teacher than Choso. But my only gripe with Gojo is it's if, even swapping the soul, could whoever gets swapped in Gojo's body handle like his curse technique just being inside them? Like I
Well, it's because they're swapping the souls, but not the bodies themselves. So like the brains are still the same.
okay.
So like I think that he could handle it because the other hint that okay, so it couldn't be Maki because the other thing is reverse curse technique. He had to learn reverse curse technique from the replacement training. That's at least my bet.
Hmm. So then that
So
then that would narrow it down to Shoko and Gojo.
Shoko, Gojo, or Yuta.
But don't
but
they
I don't
say they don't?
think
It seems like they're
best.
hinting that it wouldn't be um, Yuta because him and Hikari say they
He's like,
do
this
it
is
on instinct.
yeah. So then, yeah, it would have to be Shoko or Gojo. Most likely Gojo though,
Hmm.
because I'm reading it as well with like how Kusakabe said it's because you had Sukuna in your body, like uh muscle memory.
Yeah.
I think it was also kind of a meh explanation, but if we're working off of that, just like who would be better to have the guy with the most talent in the series
Hmm.
leave an imprint on Yuji's body?
Yeah,
So that would
yeah.
be the switch.
Um, yeah, that makes sense. And then that gives it because it's the two people per month or whatever, the two times per person per month would
Yeah,
be would make sense then because then they'd get it pretty good. Well, then why wouldn't they just do it as Gojo from the start and then someone else besides Kusakabe? Because Gojo understood simple domains.
that's an excellent question, and the only reason that I can think that, well,
It's just because
uh,
Kusakabe's a master of simple domains and like manipulating the curse energy within them that he has a better understanding of them um, than someone like Gojo or yeah. I don't know.
the only thing that I could think is that you have to bring in a question like, does Kusakabe have a better simple domain than Gojo? Probably not, because Gojo is just that guy,
Hmm.
but I feel like that would be the only good answer. And maybe it's just because Kusakabe put himself up in the first place. I need to reread this. And barrier techniques by simple domain. Okay.
Because my thought is maybe the reason they decided on Kusakabe doing that is maybe Kusakabe is more efficient. I like it more efficient with a simple domain because that's what he specializes in. But
Yeah.
then my also thinking is, wouldn't Six Eyes just make that automatically more efficient, like as
Yeah.
effective as
Well, then
possible?
that brings into okay, then my theory would be he switched with Kusakabe first because Gojo is just different when it comes to curse energy because of the six eyes. Like he maximizes curse energy efficiency because of six eyes, but Yuji doesn't have it. So Kusakabe is like, hey, let's do that, and you can also learn simple domain um in order to just have like a better grasp on how to use your curse energy
Hmm.
because Yuji has less curse energy than Sukuna, Yuta, and Gojo at least. So I think their makeup for that is like, hey, Kusakabe knows how to control his curse energy probably the best out of everyone in that group. And then Gojo can leave the imprint on him of just like, hey, natural talent, reverse curse technique, all that sort of stuff.
Hmm. Okay.
Um, yeah, that's my best theory. That also explains, if you remember when Yuta had his domain up, like when Sukuna asked, like, how do you guys get so strong? And
We
Yuta said
cheated. Yeah.
that makes sense because of the uh replacement training. God damn it. Now I feel like there's a hole if it is just why didn't they do Gojo from the start? Mm,
Oh, maybe that's something Geika is just gonna leave unexplained, or maybe we'll see it explained next chapter or in the future.
I
So
think we're gonna have to see it explained because he said twice. There's a reason why you say twice per one body per month.
yeah, because
Like,
unless there's someone else out there, like reverse curse technique, it's got to be yeah. It's confusing, dude.
it has
Yeah.
to be, well, because Gojo's the one that like explained how it worked.
Yeah.
Um, Probably swap with him. I'm wondering also if he did switch with. Okay, theory. This may even happen next chapter, so this is a little bit of a prediction. The other person that they reveal is Gojo, and the explanation behind that is that Gojo taught Yuji how to do domain expansion. Yuji does a domain expansion,
Okay. Okay. I can
so
see
it's
you
just like
cooking there.
that's the one piece of expertise that Kusakabe couldn't train him.
Hmm. That makes I like that. That's good. That's good. But
Because there's nobody else that could do it. Uh, unless like the only other one that I was thinking like maybe Higuruma, and she's like, no, that couldn't be it. Like,
yeah,
because Higuruma didn't know reverse curse technique until he got blasted through with cleaves and
because then my
dismantles.
thought was, oh, did they? Is that how they taught Higuruma? And I'm like, no, he just taught it out of like sheer will. Like,
Yeah, he had the whole talent happen to him,
so. Hmm.
but what a fun little discussion, little hypothesis right there.
Yeah.
Um, oh yeah, and so then I forgot if I explained this before. In the fan translations where it says Divine Flame, it actually says Furnace Open. Um, uh, to like when Sukuna brings out the flames, Fuga, um, to which there's like a whole other argument on whether like the official translation is good or not. John Weary is like known to be a joke sometimes because he
Hmm.
fucks up translations. Um, but the fan translations make it seem like Sukuna's a chef, opening the furnace, cooking something in it.
Yeah. Because they've used the example of like Cleveland dismantles two separate like chef's knives, like like two different types of knives. So I can
Yeah,
see that, but I don't want to just put it as it, but it could always just be chalked up to. Sorry, excuse me. Like there's no alphabet for the Japanese language, so like everything means like at least five different things sometimes. So it
yeah,
could just be like our fan translations are the fan translations we see every week during the leagues
different
are
interpretation.
are their interpretation, and then
Yeah,
the official Viz translations are their interpretation, and then the physical volumes could be that final. Okay, we've met
final
with
take.
These are what they mean, type deal.
Yeah, this is like how we want to properly have them translated because we've had that different with the volumes before.
Mm-hmm.
I think that also, well, it's just weird because most people read Shibuya, I'm assuming through Viz, where they said like Malevolent Shrine, and it's always called Shrine in fan translations. But
Yeah,
like in the first dubbing of the not dubbing
the
or
first
the
sub
first
they
dub,
called it kitchen, right? Like
yeah,
malevolent kitchen. Yeah.
yeah, in the anime. Um, so like. You're probably right. It's just the interpretation because like divine flame, shrine, like divine and shrine kind of fit together a little
Mm-hmm.
bit better. While like furnace and kitchen work a little bit better.
So
Um, so yeah, just left to interpretation. Um, I'm wondering now as well is that Sukuna stopped his the cleaves and dismantles because I think that we're still in the
it
domain.
looks, especially from that final full
God,
spread, I think we are. I
yeah, you just thought that we weren't because the cleaves stopped for a second.
Yeah, no, he's put his head down. He's he's had his head
Yeah,
down the whole time, but he's like, "Oh, we're done." And then he sees that he's got like tunnel vision, looking at um the flame.
yeah. I'm wondering if the flames are just gonna like, because he's gonna infuse the domain expansion with the flames and just
A
Yuji's
fire.
burn to crisp.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a
Like
fire
the
tornado.
game's set on fire. Yeah, like he's gonna be walking through the flames like how Maharaga did it
Yeah.
in the anime. Um, I'm wondering that's probably what's gonna happen next chapter. Um, yeah. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that you want to cover?
um. No, the last note I had was just that the black box is the divine flame. At least one of the things in the black box.
Hmm.
So it makes me then think like, what if there was someone in the Han era that Sukuna like soul swapped with, and that's how he's got these few different techniques, or it is just Cleave and Dismantle or Divine Flame was his brother's technique, and that's how he got it because he just ate his brother.
Yeah, I think
Um,
it could be that
so
the flame.
so
Although,
yeah, because my thought with it, the reason it being like Divine Flame being his brother's technique is it seems like he doesn't have a full grasp of it. There's no way he's gonna don't I knocking on wood. There's no way he's gonna domain off this. He's gonna have like
Yeah,
a divine flame domain,
praying, praying
because
that
he
not
doesn't
everything gets.
understand it compared to how his brother, how Jin's soul, I guess, would have interpreted. Again, it goes down to interpretation. How he would have interpreted. We've never seen someone use this technique before, but Sukuna. So our thought is, oh, it's just fire arrows. It's just a fire. But maybe
Mhm.
there's so much more to it that Jin would have unlocked.
Yeah, I like that idea. Um, the one thing, because I don't know where to go from here, is because he pointed out to excuse me, Jogo. He's like, wait, you can't do this?
Yeah.
You can't do this open stuff. So I'm wondering what it connects to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't know. We'll see. I like your idea that it would have been Jin's technique, or even better, this would have been Sukuna's technique,
Mm-hmm.
but Jin just had Cleave and Dismantle and like, oh wait, this shit's better. I'm
Yeah.
gonna use this instead.
So,
So
and that's maybe pushing aside his own technique. He didn't manifest it, and maybe Cleave and Dismantle. If Jin used it, if it was his technique, it would have looked completely different too. Because it seems, I
yeah,
don't
depending
know, we don't
on
know what
Jin.
Jin would have been like, but it seems like he's a more peaceful person. And I mean
Yeah,
that would have been a cool arc of Jin having this very destructive, very offensive focused technique, but he's this peaceful, more I don't want to solve everything with violence type deal. And Sukuna
yeah,
having a more defensive technique, maybe like that style of how twins are in JJK, of them getting the
yeah.
wrong thing from each.
I I want to know if Jin would have been able to see curse spirits. I want to. Oh my God, we actually should have done so much more backstory between like him and Kaori and like had like how Yuji was born.
Well, I
Because
just want
like
to know like how the soul came, how Jin's soul decided after what is it
to
1,000
reincarnate.
years or however long, after like a
Yeah,
1,000 years, after a millennia, decided to come over to be reborn. I wonder.
yeah.
I'm
He wanted to
assuming. I don't want to
reincarnate right
go down the
now.
route, but I'm assuming maybe Kenjaku had something to do with it.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really wondering. Either that or like I don't know. Kenjaku is really just a like, oh wait, opportunity, let's go. Like you're just like, oh, I found the cursed spirit that can manipulate souls. Perfect timing, brother. I was gonna trap Gojo in the next couple weeks, but I found this guy too. So I'm wondering if you're just sitting around, just like, wait, you're Sukuna's reincarnated brother. Want to have a kid?
Yeah, want to get married, have a kid,
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
um,
No. I'm gonna take over Kaori's body. Um. Yeah, we need more context on that. I don't want it to be next chapter though. If next chapter we get an opening of like Jin talking to Kaori, I'd be like, okay, brother, but like show me what's going on right now.
or like
Please.
not Jin and Kaori. Let's get like a Heian flashback type deal. Like maybe. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd
like
hate to
dead.
see
Like
it, but
okay,
like Sukuna as a kid, like realizing he
yeah.
knows he ate his brother, but realizing he would have two techniques from it.
Mhm. Yeah. I would also give it the what is it? I talked to someone about this before, like seeing Sukuna get like the whole what's his name, Kokoshibo treatment from Demon Slayer.
Oh
Like, do you remember like
yes, yeah,
as
with like the
like
flute and everything.
up to one, yeah, because we saw his backstory and how he became a demon, like seeing how Sukuna became the honored one.
Hmm.
I'm wondering. I don't know if we're ever gonna get that. I feel like Gege would want to turn that into like its own arc.
Its own, like if we got that as our own, like something hand related as like a one shot at some point, would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah, like a 50 page. Just like, all right, this is Sukuna.
Or maybe eventually we'll get like once Gege is done with like Jujutsu Kaisen this series, um
Like a series or
yeah, like
movie
a
series.
second series, like maybe he does it as like like how Disney released that Tales of the Jedi series. That's like little mini series on different characters within Star Wars. Maybe something
Yeah.
like that where we get some like little mini arcs of characters' backstories or something that happened that turned characters to do
Um,
something or something.
what I really want to see, and this probably won't happen, but I'd love to see a prequel series following Yuki. That probably won't happen, but I would have
Oh,
loved to
like
see.
her journey and everything.
Yeah,
That would
on
be
like
cool.
trying
I'd
to
be
like
down for that.
I want to learn why she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna try to solve the problem. Like something had to tip the scales in her head to be like, okay, wait, never mind. We're not gonna be a prevention
Hmm.
system. We should just be trying to fix the problem in the first place.
Instead of reacting, we need to act.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Um, but yeah. Um, yeah, do you got any other things? What was your prediction for next chapter? Did you say
Um,
it?
I guess kind of just the maybe Sukuna's faking out Yuji and then he's gonna keep cleaving him, or he's going to make it a fire tornado or something. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm in that same bed of like fire tornado or fake out because we needed something to end the chapter.
Yeah,
Uh,
because like Sukuna is
uh,
pretty beat up. Like this is a that last page is a really good page of how much Sukuna's gone through. Because you see like part of like his like eye mask thing is broken off. Because normally there's
yeah,
like another eye on there. We know he's
being
still
healing.
stabbed. Two hands are gone.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of damage. So
Yeah, he still looks like he's on the back foot.
yeah,
Like he does not look like he has the upper hand still. Uh, even with the even with the shrine. Um, but yeah. Um, yeah, I think this is probably a good point to end it off. So, um, thank you for listening to episode 65 of the Jumpcast. What is it? We're gonna be on, or what is it? There's a break week next week, but we're still gonna do something.
we
Uh,
have some stuff planned, and hopefully the other Max will be back for that. He should be done
yeah,
with his shoot, and then yeah.
yeah,
Also, thank you last week for last week's episode. All the
yeah,
yeah,
and
I just
uh,
realized we didn't talk about
and
that. Thank you so much, and
yeah,
thank you
we
to
really
that person who
appreciate it.
pointed out the audio issue. I spent like 20 minutes before we recorded trying to figure it out
Yeah, just trying to
why
fix
it was
it.
happening last week. So thank you for pointing that out. I hope it's better. If that person's watching, please let me know if I'm an idiot and didn't fix it.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, thank you guys, and what is it? We'll see you next week. You guys have a wonderful rest of your week.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.